So, hello everybody and welcome. Yes, welcome back here at BSN Network. Huku back here, BSN Network. This is the BSN Network podcast here today. It is Tuesday, September 21st. Hopefully everybody's having a day so far and a good rest of their day yesterday. It is in fact Tuesday, September 21st here today. Coming off of a big night last night and overall a big weekend. Apologizing there was no podcast yesterday. Just like I said, setup still kind of a little all over the place a little bit here, but I should be back in the setup I've been using most recently very soon, possibly tomorrow. I could be back in that setup. We'll see how everything plays out with that. So again, you're just getting voice in this one. You're just getting the voice. As I've always say, I'm still going to upload this on YouTube. I will still upload this on YouTube, and you could still listen and watch or whatever, but it's just a sign. You just see my logo and stuff, and you're just going to be able to hear my voice. That will be today again. I know I did this on Friday. I think I might have did it. No, I did it on Thursday. Did I do it on Thursday? I think I did, right? I did it on Thursday. I think I did it on Friday, or was it? No, it was just Friday. And then it was yesterday, I wasn't able to, didn't do it. So today I'm back at it. Today, got a lot to get to today. Today's kind of going to be treated like it's a Monday. We're going to recap everything that happened in the NFL and a lot more. Last night was a big night, though, in sports. The New York Yankees got the win. They defeated the Texas Rangers 4-3. We'll get to them. We'll get to the playoffs. We'll get to the Yankees. We'll get to all that good stuff today. And we'll get to that more in depth tomorrow, especially with the depending results of today's game between the Yankees and the Rangers and what goes on with the Blue Jays and, of course, the Boston Red Sox. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but today, us as Yankee fans actually have to root for the New York Mets. I can't believe I'm saying that. It's very weird to say that. We never root for the Mets. Nor do we ever root for the Red Sox. The Mets and the Red Sox are like our arch enemies. We never do it. But today and tomorrow, us Yankee fans also are New York Met fans. Because we need, not only do the New York Yankees need to get their job done and win today, and I would love for a sweep, but the Mets, how big it would be if they can go into Boston and find a way to at least win two there and help out the New York Yankees. That would be huge. That would be pivotal. We are also Tampa Bay Rays fans today. We need the Rays to knock off the Blue Jays. So, a lot of things I would not think I would be saying on a Tuesday. It's September 21st on a Tuesday. I am saying, but hey, that's what they always say. That's baseball. That's how sports goes. It's crazy. Wild things can happen. And yes, Yankee fans today, along with the Yankees themselves, we are rooting for the Tampa Bay Rays and, yes, the hated New York Mets. And it is a very rare occurrence, but it's going to happen today. So we'll get to that. We'll get to the Yankees. We'll get to, like I just mentioned, the Mets and a lot more. But we're going to get lots of football today. And we're going to recap yesterday's game, which was actually, despite the score, I thought it was a really good game. And I thought the Detroit Lions looked really good. And I understand if you're a Lions fan today and you're like me as a Jet fan, you're 0-2, you got a new coach, you're hoping to be competitive, and you're 0-2. But if you're a Detroit Lion fan today, and I said it last week, you gotta like the fight in the team. And that means that you gotta like what you're seeing out of your team in terms of fight, in terms of battling, and all that good stuff. Because when you get a new coach, and you get a new system, and when you get new leaders, when the players buy in, you know they're buying in when they're playing good and they're competitive and they're not going down and they're not quitting. Right, last game against the Niners, week 1, they were getting smoked. What was it, like 31-10? And they came back. Yes, they lost, But they lost they came all the way back, and they had a chance to win it on 4th down with 15 seconds left. They couldn't get the job done. And last night again, yes, they lost. Yes, the outcome was 35-17. I get it, a win's a win, a loss a loss. But when you look at a rebuilding team, you need to take baby steps. You need to look at the small positives. And there was a lot of positives to like, especially the way Jared Goff played. So we'll get to all that. We'll get to much more. We'll get to the brutal game between the Jets and the Patriots. Just awful, terrible. I mean, as Jet fans, we got to expect this. It's all a part of the process. It's a part of the building. It's a part of the rebuild. But not a good day for the Jets on Sunday. So we'll get to all that and much more. As I mentioned, some of the topics for today's podcast will be the NFL update. It's going to be an update, a recap. I don't want to spend a crazy amount of time on all these games because by now, most of you know what happened. It's Tuesday. These games happened on Sunday other than last night. If I would have done a pod yesterday, today would have just been talking about the Packers and the Lions, and then I would have been getting into some other topics. So I'm going to be a little quicker. I'm going to try my best. I really want to get to the Jets and really want to get to a couple other games that I really thought were good. So we'll get to that. Then we'll get to fantasy football, give you the recap. Bad news, tough day for me in fantasy football. I lost in both leagues. It really wasn't close either league. One league I lost like 161 to like 88. And the other league I lost like 124 to like 80 something as well. So not a good week in fantasy football, but fantasy baseball, I'm currently in the championship and I'm currently winning. So I don't want to touch the money yet. I don't want to get too excited, too ahead of myself. But I am in the fantasy baseball championship. I want to give you some good advice, get you ready if you're in the championship. I know a fantasy baseball season's starting to wind down, so we'll give you kind of some thoughts on rosters and lineups and all that good stuff. That would be included in the New York Sports Update along with the Yankees and the Mets. Go Yankees, go Mets. Yes, we need the Mets to win. Yes, the Yankees also need to take care of business. It's as simple as this. Sure, we need the Mets to win. If the Mets don't win, it's not the end of the world. If the Mets don't win and the Yankees don't win, well, that could be the end of the world. Okay? Or rather, I should say, end of the season. But you get what I'm saying. Yankees got to also take care of business. And we hope that the Rays and the Mets can also take care of business. Now, I feel more optimistic that the Rays will, just because the Rays are a better team than the Mets. And the Mets have been bad all year, but hey, maybe the Mets catch fire. Either way, a lot to get to today. Another packed night ahead of us, too, with the Yankees and the Mets. So, with all that being said, this is the BSN podcast, and let's get right into it. So, another great week of football. Just another great week of football. Week 1 was great. I honestly thought Week 2, remove the Jets game, was really good. And you look at all the games, there were so many close games. Just look at them. Washington Giants started us off on Thursday night. We all know how that ended. The missed field goal, but then Dexter Lawrence was offsides. Then he made it. Raiders-Steelers was a close game. Raiders improved to 2-0. Niners-Eagles, a close game. Browns-Texans. Texans winning early. Browns able to come back, overcome the injuries of Jarvis' injury. Mayfield banged up his shoulder a little bit, was able to stay in, though. You look at the Rams-Colts game was close. Bears-Bengals was close. Wild game between the Cardinals-Vikings. Vikings missed the game-winning field goal attempt. And a lot of really close games. And you even go into, the Broncos-Jaguars. That game seemed like it was going to be a runaway, but it was actually relatively interesting. You get to the Titans-Seahawks, close game. That goes into overtime. Titans won. Cowboys-Chargers, close game. Cowboys winning on a game-winning kick. Ravens-Chiefs. Ravens win it by 1. There was a lot of really good and close games. There was a lot of, 3 1-point games over the weekend. So a great weekend. Now let's get to the New York Jets. I said at the beginning of the season, from a New York Jet fan, I said this. Now I was optimistic. I was very optimistic. I'm not saying that I'm not giving up, but Sunday was brutal. Sunday was a pure just Patriots beating up on the Jets, and the biggest storyline, Bill Belichick's dominance against rookie quarterbacks continue. And that was Zach Wilson and Zach Wilson's terrible day throwing 4 interceptions. Now, I'm not going to sit here and give up on the Jets or give up on Wilson or give up on this organization because it's week 2. There's 15 more games to be played, and also, it's a rookie quarterback and a brand new coaching staff and a GM who realistically is now just going through the full process of being a GM. Because we all know the year Gaze got hired in 2019. Douglas took over, didn't draft that year, drafted last season, and this season he really got his new coach, really got a draft, really got the free agency. It was a much more normal offseason for Douglas. So you could even say new coach, new coaching staff, new quarterback, youngest roster in the NFL, average age of 25 years old, and a GM who, although he's been with the team now, this is his 3rd year, he's only really had 2 drafts and 1 true free agency. Because last year, free agency, 2020, COVID, it was a little weird, not as active as usual because of the whole COVID and the uncertainty with the salaries and the whole just season in general. It was weird. But the New York Jets were straight out brutal, were terrible on Sunday. And I said it on the podcast on Friday. I said that until the Jets prove that they can beat New England, I don't think the Jets are going to beat New England. I said it on Friday. I'm going to say it again today. And I'm going to continue to say it until the Jets beat New England. The Jets have now lost 11 straight games against the Patriots. So until the Jets prove to me that they can beat New England, I'm not going to buy into this verdict of, the Jets are ready and, the Jets can beat New England. No, they're not. They can't. They're just not good enough. And the Jets on Sunday were that pure example. And, I don't even know where to begin with this game. The defense was fantastic. They were awesome. I'm not going to sit here and rave about the defense because, hey, we lost. There was a lot more negatives than there was positives. The offense was atrocious. There's no other way to put it. The offense was atrocious. Wilson started leading it off with 4 interceptions, 2 in his first 2 throws. Now, you could sit here today and make the argument that 1 or even 2 of those weren't his fault. Definitely 1. That ball that went through Corey Davis's hand, that's a catchable ball. We've seen Corey Davis make that catch plenty of times. Don't sit here and pull the card of, that was a high throw. Not every throw is going to be on the money. You got to adjust. You got to get up and get it. And we've seen Corey Davis do that throughout his career. That was a catchable ball. So that wasn't really Zach's fault, but at the same time, Elijah Moore was wide open underneath. Zach Wilson could have looked towards him. So you could sit here and say, 2 of the 4, or Corey Davis should have caught that, should have only been 3. Either way, it's 4 interceptions. 4 interceptions are 4 interceptions. However you want to put it. Whether it's 1 or 2 weren't his fault, on paper, at the end of the day, when you look at the final stats, Zach Wilson went 19-33, 210 yards, 11.1 was his average, and 4 interceptions. He also got sacked 4 times, which I think is a little bit of a misconception because I thought the offensive line actually played better, but towards the end of the game, they really started to struggle. There was one time where Zach got sacked like 2 out of the next 4 plays. They started to struggle a little bit. I think it got to the point where it was like the 4th quarter, late in the game, teams gassed. Just no energy. Just you're down by 20 or you're down by 19. Your offense isn't playing well. It was just at that point where the Patriots were ultimately just a better team, and that's why I think the 4 sacks really did happen. But this is going to happen. This is going to happen. There's going to be moments where Wilson's going to look like a stud, and there's going to be moments where he's going to have bad, and I mean really bad games. That's all a part of being a rookie. Go back in history. You want to, and no rookie quarterbacks even. Go back to look at Peyton Manning. Look at all these guys. All these guys have had many bad games in their rookie seasons. Every player has a really bad game in their entire career. Didn't Brady last season? Not comparing Zach Wilson to Brady. I'm just using an example of the all-time great, the GOAT, Tom Brady, one of the best athletes of all time, if not the best. Different story. That's a different argument of a different day. I'm not going to go down that road right now. But last season, didn't he have a game where he threw 3-4 interceptions against New Orleans? And the history of Bill Belichick against rookie quarterbacks is just crazy. Belichick against rookie quarterbacks is like a crazy amount of wins, not many losses. And quarterbacks against Belichick in their rookie season have thrown rookie quarterbacks versus Belichick total combined have thrown 21 touchdowns and 41 interceptions. So Zach Wilson's not the only one who was really bad, but he was bad yesterday or Sunday rather. And he's gonna have to, this is one of these games where you just take it, you crumble it up, and you throw it out. You forget about it. Sure, you can maybe look at a little bit of film, but this is one of these games I always say, like, there's games where there's stuff you could take. And then there's games like this where the Jets had chances to win. They couldn't. They couldn't get the ball downfield. You throw 4 interceptions. There's times like that. You don't record a single passing yard in the first quarter. This is a game where you got to crumble up and throw it away. And I'll tell you why, too. Jets are going up against a very good defense in the Denver Broncos next week. Or this upcoming week, however you want to put it. In Denver, on the West Coast, road trip, high altitude. Denver has a lot of things pointed towards them. So the Jets have got to completely trash this and get ready for Denver. And I don't believe that they're going to get all caught up in this because, clearly they didn't get caught up in the Panthers game because Panthers game they lost. And there was positives from that game that they could have took, and they clearly took none of those positives into this game. So, we'll see. But Wilson's just got to, it will be interesting to see how Wilson responds from this, though. Because this is one of these moments, if you're Zach Wilson, where this is a big moment earlier in your career. How do you respond after throwing 4 interceptions? Do you respond with coming out the next game and struggling again? Or do you respond coming out the next game and having a dominant performance and making everyone forget about that 4 interception game? How does he respond? That will be interesting to see this Sunday, 4:05 Eastern, against the Denver Broncos in Denver, Colorado. West Coast trip, high altitude. A lot of things point towards Denver in that game. Tough defense, good fan base, loud crowd. We all know Denver's got a pretty good history with them, so we'll see how everything plays out there. So that's the Jets. And hey, if you're going to sit here and just destroy Wilson, because he did have a bad game. But, let's be honest here. Wilson threw for more average and more yards than Mac Jones, which I found was pretty crazy. Mac Jones did not throw a single touchdown, which is just wild. But Trevor Lawrence, too, struggling as well. He had 3 picks his first game and 2 Sunday. So he's struggling a little bit as well. He's thrown 5 picks in his first 2 games, same as Wilson. So Wilson's not the only one. Fields came in on Sunday to replace the injured Andy Dalton. And yes, they won that game. But hey, he didn't throw a touchdown, he threw a pick. He went like 4 or 6 of, 16, 80 yards and a pick. So all rookies are struggling. All guys are. It's just a part of the process and a part of the learning. There's a big difference between college and NFL. There's a lot of throws you can get away with in college that you won't be able to get away with in the NFL. And we saw that on Sunday, and we've seen that a lot so far this season across the league. That's something I want to say. It's not just Zach Wilson. It's across the NFL. Alrighty, so let's get to the NFL games over the weekend. I'm going to start with the Sunday games and then get to yesterday's games just because yesterday's happened yesterday, so I want to get the Sunday games done with first. Alrighty, so Raiders-Steelers as well. The Raiders won 26-17. I'll tell you what, man. The Raiders look good. You would think a lot of the things, not just overall team and skill-wise, but a lot of things pointed in the Steelers' direction going into Sunday's game. And I'll tell you some of the things, not even things that happened on the field, just off the field things. Number one, Raiders were coming off of a Monday night game, a short week. Raiders are obviously in Vegas, going to Pittsburgh, a cross-country trip, an emotional and very big win. That had all the makings of the Steelers having a field day on the Vegas Raiders. But no, Derek Carr again having a big day, especially when it comes to passing yards, 382 passing yards, 28 completions on 37 attempts and 2 touchdowns. And the Steelers ultimately just didn't have enough. It's not even like their offense really played all that bad. They just were not able to get the job done. It was Their offense, not that their offense was playing terrible, it's just the fact that when Derek Carr throws for 382 yards and 2 touchdowns and the Raiders look as good as they do, it's not an easy team to beat. So the Raiders win. And I'm going to tell you this, the Raiders do this every year to us. They start off strong and they don't end well. So the Raiders got to keep this up if they want to have a successful year, unlike the past couple seasons. All right, the next game was the 49ers-Eagles. 49ers won 17-11. So when you're watching the games, you see on the bottom of the screen, it shows the sports, the ticker, or however you want to say it. And the sports feed, the live thing, whatever, ticker, whatever you want to say. And it shows you all the scores. And it shows you all different sports, not just NFL. It shows you all different things. And on the ticker, I always look sometimes, in between plays or, even just watching the game. It's in your line of, your line of sight. So whatever, your line of vision, whatever you want to say. And I saw that the Eagles were up 3-0 and they had the ball. And I'm like, wow, are the Eagles really going to beat the Niners? And are they really going to move to 2-0? And then I saw the Texans were winning. And I'm like, wow. Like, are we seriously talking about the two projected worst teams in the league winning right now? Sure enough, the Eagles did end up losing. Niners were able to come back a little bit. I'll tell you what. I'm going to be completely honest with you. The Eagles don't look that bad. Their defense played well. Hurts struggled a little bit, but he is going up against a very good Niners defense. But I'll tell you what. The Eagles were a touchdown away and an extra point from winning that game. It was a low-scoring game. Not much, action. 28 total points scored, 17-11. So, even though the Eagles lost, the Eagles look a lot better than many expected. They do. This was a game you could have looked at early in the year and be like, oh, that's a loss. Yeah, they lost, but 6 points, definitely was a closer game than many expected. Ultimately, the Eagles' offense just could not string enough together. Niners win. Then we get to the Browns-Texans. Browns win 31-21. And I'll tell you what, if you're a Browns fan, that start of that game was not great, right? Texans start the game, they're winning. Then I don't know if they scored on the first drive, whatever, all that good stuff. Then Jarvis Landry goes down, not just one of your receivers, but one of your leaders in the locker room. He goes down. He's week to week. He's projected to miss about 3 weeks, so he's going to be out for a little bit. Mayfield struggled a little bit, had a high completion rate, completed 19 of his 21 attempts for 213 yards, but threw a touchdown and a pick. And just not much action early. And then the Browns coming out of halftime, this was the biggest part. They outscored the Texans coming out of halftime. And that's just better coaching. At the end of the day, coaching won the Browns this game. 14-14 going into halftime, right? Who had the momentum? Honestly, I would have given it to the Texans. Because the Texans go into this game massive underdogs. Texans go into the season in general as one of the worst teams, if not a team. Many people had them winning 2 games this year, myself included. I said, hey, 2-3 games win at best, and maybe at best 4. And they went into that half tied against the Browns, who gave the Chiefs the run for their money a week earlier. And by the way, this last year were a stop or a score away from getting to the AFC Championship game. And going into that halftime, I would say the Texans had the momentum just because of how the game was going. And then you come out of the half, and the Browns were able to make the adjustments. Stefanski was able to make the coaching adjustments. They come out of half. They take a really quick, commanding 24-14 lead. And boom, they finish it off in the fourth quarter, adding 7 more. Texans do, but it's not enough. Better coaching ultimately won the Browns this game. In terms of halftime adjustments and getting his team back into it, Browns win 31-21. Alrighty, as for the Broncos-Jaguars, Broncos win 23-13. Broncos are now 2-0. I'll tell you what, I'm not a big fan of this whole Jaguars situation. I'm just not. I got to give credit where credit's due with Denver. Their defense is really good. Teddy Bridgewater, as much as I disagreed with them starting him over Drew Lock, 328 yards, 2 touchdowns. I don't care what defense you're going up against. That's a great game right there. Last week had a very good game against the Giants, followed by this most recent week against the Jaguars. Now he goes up against the Jets, who, as crazy as it sounds, the big question mark going into the year has been their secondary. Jets secondary has been awesome to start the year. The Broncos just look good. And the Jaguars just, the Broncos do look good. I'm not taking anything away from the Broncos. It's going to be an extremely tough game for the Jets to win. Extremely tough. But the Jaguars just look brutal. I mean, they look awful. They do. And I know Wilson threw for 4 interceptions, and I get that. But, I mean, what has Trevor Lawrence shown you as a Jaguars fan that would make you even somewhat think that he's developing a little bit? And I know it's only the second week of the season. I know Wilson threw 4 picks rather. And I know they have the same amount of picks on the season, but Wilson against Carolina made the halftime adjustments, came out, did much better. Last week he struggled. And maybe this is a little bit because I'm a Jet fan. I'm going to back up my quarterback. But, I mean, let's be honest here. It's against Bill Belichick. It's against the guy that's dominated rookie quarterbacks in his career. And frankly, always dominates rookie quarterbacks. One of the best defensive coaches we've ever seen in the NFL history. But what are the Jaguars showing us at all? What are they doing? I mean, they look awful. And I said at the beginning of the year, I disagree with the Urban Meyer hiring. And I think the true colors of Urban Meyer and college coaches going to the NFL is truly coming out. Jimmy Johnson is the only one, really, to have success in college, come to the NFL, and have great success. No other coach has done it. Many coaches have tried. Even the best of the best. Nick Saban has tried. He failed. Right? He's one of the best college coaches we've ever seen. So many coaches have tried, and they failed. Urban Meyer, it looks like it's going to be another one of those, we get a college coach. He was successful in college. The NFL is a different ballgame. And Trevor Lawrence, just a brutal day. A brutal day. 14 to 33, 118 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. I mean, he's not even... I mean, that was brutal. That was a brutal day for Trevor Lawrence. Under 50% completion percentage. Brutal. Just awful. I mean, there's no other way to put it. And the Broncos' defense and their offense, in particular, Cortland Sutton having a big day with 159 yards. And Tim Patrick and Noah Fant, the 2 tight ends, getting involved with 2 touchdowns. So the Broncos beat the Jaguars. Panthers beat the Saints 26-7. You know, when I made this game pick, I'm honest. I'm always honest, right? I don't sit here and say, I was going to do this and that. I'm honest. I will completely tell you this. When I made my game pick for the Panthers and the Saints, I was originally going to pick the Panthers. What ultimately made me change to the Saints was it wasn't Winston's performance, it wasn't the offense. It was ultimately the way the defense was able to stop Rodgers and that elite Packers offense in week 1. It wasn't Winston. I said it last week. I still don't buy into this whole Winston thing. I don't buy into it yet. Right? You had 5 touchdowns week 1. Great. Last week, Sunday, he was back to being Winston. Threw 2 picks. 50% completion percentage, 111 yards, 2 picks. He looked back like being Winston, turning the ball over, not making smart decisions. It wasn't Winston why I picked this game. The reason I picked this game was because of the defense. And the defense didn't play bad. When the offense scores 7 points, the defense, no matter what the defense does, it's not going to be easy to win. Darnold and the Panthers look good early. They win 26-7. By the way, my game picks. Forgot to reveal those to you guys. This weekend, a big bounce back week. Really a big bounce back week. I went 11-5 this week. So last week I went 7-9. This week I went 11-5. So my overall record now is 18-14. And so far, week 3, I'm 0-0 as no games haven't played yet. So I'm 18-14 overall now on the game picks through 2 weeks of the season. Here's my thing. Okay, I also want to say this. There's a lot of Jet fans out there talking about Darnold and what ifs and all this stuff. Okay, I have no issue with Darnold. I hope Darnold succeeds in Carolina. I do. I like Darnold a lot. I did. I feel bad because it just didn't work out here, and he got destroyed here. I mean, I genuinely feel bad. I mean, the guy came into a terrible situation, and Jets could never get it right with him. So I understand all that, and everyone's saying, "Oh, Darnold, wish the Jets kept Darnold." Okay. Jet fans got to move on. And there's so many Jet fans out there talking about, look at Darnold, look at Darnold, look at Darnold. Like, you got to move on. Like, if you want to look at Darnold, you want to watch him play, and you want to, be his biggest fan, go be a Panthers fan. There's too many Jet fans that are like, look at Darnold, look at Darnold, look at Darnold. I'm happy to see Darnold doing well. I am. But I'm a Jet fan, and he's a Carolina Panther now. So, if you want to hear my opinion on it, I'm happy he's having success. But I'm not going to sit here and talk about it 24/7. Like, he's on Carolina. Completely different team, completely different market. I'm a Jet fan. I don't follow the Carolina Panthers. I mean, like, he's on a different team. My focus as a Jet fan is not on Sam Darnold. It's on this team, this coach staff, this organization. Too many Jet fans are getting all wrapped up in it. And it's funny because those are the same fans saying get rid of him, and now they're the same fans saying, oh, bring him back. Well, just goes to show you that a lot of people don't know what they're talking about. So the Panthers won 26-7 in that game. The Rams beat the Colts 24-7, or 27-24 rather. Rams beat the Colts 24-7, same way, but 27-24 Rams beat the Colts. Wentz gets injured, and it doesn't look good. I'm going to tell you this about Wentz, okay? I'm going to be straight honest, completely honest, okay? I don't know what the future holds with him, whether he's going to be with the Colts for a long time or whether this is kind of a one-year thing, see what he can do, and next year they flip the card. They're 0-2 now. Not saying they're going to lose every single game of the season, go 2-15, because I think they're too good. They're too good to do that, but I mean, if this Wentz thing does turn into a longer injury, then there could be issues. I'm just going to tell you this with Wentz, okay? I'm genuinely concerned just the way Wentz plays the game. Okay, I don't think this is any of this, it's unfortunate that it all happens. Wentz is ultimately doing this to himself. I mean, he is. There was no need that play to rush and run that ball and try to lower your shoulder and try to get past Aaron Donald. Arguably the best defensive player in the league, the best defensive player in the league, and arguably the best player in the league, and arguably one of the best defensive players we've seen in history in a very long time. Why are you running and trying to, get past Aaron Donald? It's just not going to work. And he tried to do that, and, it didn't work out. And we're seeing this a lot with Carson Wentz. He's turning into he's too reckless. Like, he's just trying to do too much. Like, you got to slow the game down. He's getting injured way too much, and it's kind of it's his fault. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but it is. Like, it's not like this is any more of, he got sacked or whatever. He's taking these hits. He's deciding to take these hits. Not smart. And he gets injured. And the Rams win. Wentz doesn't get injured. There's a good chance the Colts win that game because Jacob Eason throws a late pick. Rams win 27-24. Bills win 35-0. And the Bills looked like the Bills. Still some things to clean up. Allen was good. He wasn't great, but he was solid. Still a lot of things to clean up if you're the Buffalo Bills. I thought they got a great production from the run game. Devin Singletary opened up the scoring early with, I think, a 73-yard touchdown. Zach Moss adding 2 touchdowns of his own as well after not playing last week due to coach's decision. The biggest storyline coming out of this game is what's going to happen with Tua. Rib injury, and, Tua's one of those guys, too, that's like another injury. Now, this isn't really Tua's fault. Tua's big, the hip injury and this rib injury, those aren't his fault. Those are, just getting sacked, taking a hit. It's football. It's how it is. Difference between Tua and Wentz or any other guy in Wentz is Wentz just chose to take that hit against Donald. He should have threw that ball away. Instead, he tried to go, make a move, and let's see where I can get past Aaron Donald, and his ankle's up by his head. Not going to work out. But the Dolphins, the big thing is what's going to happen with Tua. Because if Tua's going to be out an extended amount of time, nothing against Jacoby Brissett, but Jacoby Brissett, simple as this, he's not the guy. He's not the guy. You need to go out and make a move if Tua's going to be gone for a while, or else this season's going to get out of hand quick. And the Bills put up 35 points, which was solid for their offense, but I think the even bigger storyline of it is no matter if it was Tua or Brissett out there, they shut down the Dolphins. Shut them out. So Bills beat the Dolphins 35-0. Patriots obviously beat the Jets. Bengals lost to the Bears 20-17. I was surprised. I picked the Bengals to win this game. I was really surprised to see the Bears beat the Bengals. I was. I do think Fields, when he came in, added a little bit of a spark. But, I mean, honestly, the scoring of this game didn't happen until the fourth quarter. I mean, 20 of the 27 points were scored in the fourth quarter. Or actually 17. Actually, no. 27 of the total 37 points were scored in the fourth quarter. Bears had 7 in the first. nothing in the second. Bengals added 3 in the third. It was a 7-3 game going into the third quarter. And in the fourth quarter, things just exploded. And, the Bengals heading 14, Bears having 13, 20-17. Fields, not that he looked bad, but, 6-13, 60 yards and an interception. That's not great. Not anything special, but, it is his first game. He kind of got thrown into it with Dalton getting injured. Burrow also struggled too. Another quarterback that struggled over the weekend, 19-30, 207 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he did throw 3 picks. And, you remove some of those picks, remove some of those turnovers, we very well could be talking about a Cincinnati Bengals win and then moving to 2-0. And as much as criticism as Jamar Chase got for struggling in the preseason, just goes to show you how much preseason means absolutely nothing. Another touchdown yesterday. He was big in week 1. Yesterday, 2 catches, 54 yards and a touchdown. T. Higgins also added a touchdown of his own. Those were the 2 scoring plays for the Bengals, and then they added a field goal on top of that. So he's played well. Him and Burrow look good. But the Bears win 2017. Alrighty, as for the Buccaneers-Falcons, Buccaneers beat the Falcons 48-25. Let's be honest here. Who really thought the Falcons were going to win this game? I don't think many of us did. Tom Brady going out, just throwing 5 touchdowns, just like it's nothing. Mike Evans, 2 of those. Godwin had 1, and Gronk had 2. Look at the Falcons. They actually made things interesting after the third quarter. It was 28-25, I think. They made things interesting, and then the Bucs just tore it up, blew it up in the fourth quarter. They added 20 points in the fourth quarter, making it a final score of 48-25. Matt Ryan, 35-46, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. And again, the turnovers, 3 interceptions. Josh Rosen also got in there. He went 0 for 2. Brady just throwing 5 touchdowns. I get it's the Falcons, but, I got to give credit where credit's due. As much as I'm iffy with the Bucs, and I think it's a little bit because I just can't stand him. I can't stand Brady. The guy's just a legend. He's just unbelievable how good he is. Alrighty, as for the Cardinals-Vikings, another very good game. I'll tell you what, pivotal year for the Cardinals, pivotal year for, not really Kyler Murray, but more so for Cliff Kingsbury. Really, this year, playoff mandate has to be in effect, and the Cardinals have done everything they needed to do so far. A little bit of luck with that missed field goal, but hey, still, Cardinals have done what they've needed to do. The Vikings, they played well. Dalvin Cook averaged 6 yards a carry. He had a rush for 131 yards on 22 carries. Kirk Cousins, 244 yards, 3 touchdowns. Osborne, Justin Jefferson, and Adam Thielen all got involved. The Vikings did their job. You know who didn't? Their kicker. Greg Joseph missed the game-winning kick. And you look at the Cardinals, another big offensive day too. Kyler Murray did throw 2 picks, but 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. Also had a rushing touchdown. Rondale Moore, DeAndre Hopkins, and A.J. Green were the receivers of those touchdowns. So, Vikings make that kick, completely different story, but the Cardinals have looked good, especially Kyler Murray, these first 2 weeks of the season, and now they play the Jaguars, and that should be a win. And then you look at, I'm not trying to get too ahead of myself, but I am getting a little too ahead of myself. I'm going to be honest here, I'm breaking my own rule, but you look at their schedule, Jaguars, then it's the Rams, it's tough, but if they continue to play like they do, then the Niners, watch out, people. Cardinals might have a really, really good season ahead of them, especially the way they've started. As for the Titans Seahawks, this game is the biggest storyline out of this game is the Titans offense got going. Derrick Henry especially, 35 carries, got the ball 35 times. That's what the Titans need to do if they want to win games. Give Derrick Henry the ball. 35 carries, 182 yards, 5.2 average per carry, and 3 touchdowns. Tannehill threw for 347 yards. He didn't throw a touchdown. Julio Jones very well could have had a touchdown. It's kind of a controversial call, however you see it. He had 128 yards still on 6 catches. And Tannehill, 347 yards. But the big storyline was Derrick Henry rushing for 182 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Seattle, too. This was an offensive game. Seattle played well on offense. Titans played well on offense. But this just goes to show you how lethal the Titans can be. Tannehill didn't throw a single touchdown. But hey, that's okay. We could still put up 33 points because we have Derrick Henry. Not many teams could say that about their team. They need their quarterback to do a lot. But this team, on the other hand, Tannehill didn't throw a single touchdown. Julio Jones, A.J. Brown, those guys did not catch a single touchdown. But Derrick Henry got 3, and that's all they needed. Titans win 33-30 in overtime. Let's see the next game here. Alrighty, so Cowboys beat the Chargers 20-17 on a game-winning field goal. So I found this funny. This is just how sports are. Greg Zuerlein last week, or week 1, big reason why the Cowboys lost. Missing both those kicks, not able to get the job done. Not just a big reason, arguably the biggest reason, probably the biggest reason why they lost. The offense did their job, defense actually played solid. And then this week, on the other hand, Zuerlein nails the game-winning kick. So I guess we could say, along with the Cowboys going 1-1, Zuerlein is 1-1 as well. And I'll tell you what, as much as I've come on and criticized the Cowboys defense, and as much as the media has, the Cowboys defense has played well. And a pure example of that is the fact that Dak Prescott wasn't anything special. This offense wasn't anything special. Prescott threw for 23 of 27, 237 yards, no touchdowns and a pick. That's just how it is. But Justin Herbert, 31 of 41, 338 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. You're going up against a very good Chargers offense that was able to, do just enough to stop the Chargers from, really having a big game. So, the fact that they were able to pick Herbert off twice and get the job done like they were, that's a defensive game. That's a defensive score, 20-17. And the Cowboys get the job done. Cowboys defense really, really surprising in a positive way, though. They look pretty good early on. And they faced up against 2 good offenses as well. One whom just put up almost 50 points against a bad defense in the Falcons, but still, it's almost 50 points. And another one who has got the reigning Rookie of the Year and one of the better quarterbacks in the league in Justin Herbert. So they've been able to do their job, the defense, and the offense just did enough on Sunday to get the job done. All right, and then on week 1, Zuerlein was the guy to blame. So I guess special teams would be that blame there. And as for the 2 primetime games, the Ravens, Chiefs, and the Packers, Lions, Ravens were able to get the job done against the Chiefs. The way this game started, it's really wild. This game started off like all of us expected. The Chiefs Tyrann Mathieu more so picking off Lamar Jackson twice. I think one of them was on Jackson's first throw. It was like, all right, this is going to be how it is, 14-0. It was like, or 14-7, whatever it was. It was like, oh, all right. Lamar Jackson, Ravens struggles are going to continue. That was not the case, though. And some gutsy plays by the Baltimore Ravens got them done. And the fourth quarter alone, which is really pretty crazy, the fact that they shut down the Chiefs in the fourth quarter. Chiefs are a big-time team when it comes to the fourth quarter. Ravens were able to shut them down and it gave the Chiefs a little bit of their own taste of their own medicine, making a big comeback, scoring 12 unanswered in the fourth quarter to get the job done. Harbaugh asking Jackson if he wants to go for it. He did, and they got the job done. That's a big win. That is a massive win. Because that very well, on paper, that should have been, you look at that game, even if you look at the numbers, you remove the score and look at the numbers, Mahomes threw for 343 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick. Jackson, 239, a touchdown, 2 picks. He did have 107 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns rushing, but you look at the numbers, and you can very well say, hey, Chiefs should win this game. That wasn't the case, though. Obviously, Ravens win, and a big win for the Ravens, because easily the Ravens could have started off 0-2, and now this week you got to go against the Lions, which is winnable, but never want to. 0-2 is not a good way to start the season. And then after this week, you got to play against the Broncos, which is a tough matchup, and even looking further ahead, you then have the Colts. So there are a lot of Colts defense there, depending on whether Wentz plays or not. A lot of good teams coming up. But that was a big win for the Ravens to avoid that 0-2 start. And the Packers defeated the Lions 35-17. this game was closer than the score did. I mean, the Lions started off strong. Really good first drive. Packers responded. Big storyline was the fact that I understand Rodgers had a great game. That's going to be the big storyline, and he threw for 4 touchdowns, 255 yards, and rightfully so. He had a great game. And Aaron Jones also having 3 receiving touchdowns along with a rushing touchdown, and Tanyan adding on to a receiving touchdown. He had 4 touchdowns. Big storyline of this game, I think, though, although it's Rodgers, is the fact that this Packers defense was able to shut down the Lions in the second half. Going into halftime, it was 17-14. Lions offense, specifically Jared Goff, looked really good. And in the second half, the tables turned. No scoring for 30 minutes of football. Packers shut them down. It was really a tale of 2 halves. Outscored them 21-0 in the second half. And at the end of the day, Packers got the last licks, and they were able to get the job done 35-17. And I understand Lions fans are probably frustrated. I'm a Jet fan. I'm frustrated. I would rather, very well, we could be 2-0 if certain things would have went our way. And it's not crazy either. I mean, the offensive line blocks for Zach Wilson in game 1, along with the receivers making some plays. And if Wilson doesn't throw 4 interceptions on Sunday, Jets could very well be 2-0 right now. Simple as that. Jets going to halftime could have won that game if they made some adjustments. But the Lions have showed fight. They've shown battling. They've shown improvement. Yes, they're 0-2, but they have gone up against 2 solid teams, one solid team in the Niners and one really good team in the Packers, and now they go up against another really good team. So it's kind of a tough break for the Lions. They've gone up against two likely playoff teams in the Ravens and the Packers, and one possible playoff team in the Niners. And right now the Niners are 1-1. But it's like they've shown fight. They came back against the Niners, almost got the job done, and yesterday as well. Started off strong. They struggled in the second half, but, new team, new regimen over there, and kind of a little bit of a different situation. So I'll tell you this, I actually think the Lions are playing pretty good. Considering, they've been terrible these past couple seasons. I've thought, as crazy as Dan Campbell is and the things he says, they've shown competence. They've shown some competitiveness in their first 2 games, but not enough as the Niners were able to beat them week 1, and the Packers were able to beat them yesterday. All right, so let's get to fantasy football. We'll get to fantasy football and all that coming up next. Alrighty, so as for fantasy football, not a great week in fantasy football, as both my leagues I lose in, so I go 0-2 for the week, and I move to 1-1 in both leagues. So the PPR league, my PPR league, I lost 100, really bad score, 167-88. So I got crushed. No other way to put it. AJ Brown, not a great game. Cooper didn't do much. Kamara didn't. I mean, Tannehill could be better. Threw for 347 yards, but no touchdowns. Not much doing for my fantasy team. Left a lot of points on the bench. Boyd with 14, McKissick with 20, Jones with 17. So a lot of that. And then for fantasy, for my other league, is the same thing. I lose 123-97. Not enough production. Gibson 6, Cooper 2. This is non-PPR. You look at my bench, 11, 12, 8. So a lot better on my bench. It's just kind of one of those weeks where it's just unlucky. It's not so much bad. I mean, it is a little bit of bad decision-making, but it's just like the guys that you believed in did not get the job done, and the guys on your bench, I mean, who would have thought that McKissick would have went off for 20 points in week 1, he had 0.8. It's just how sports are. It's just how sometimes things happen. So that's kind of how it went. But, yeah, a lot of injury updates, especially for my one league. My PPR league got an injury update on Amari Cooper, which isn't really positive, but it's not negative either. It's kind of like a wait-and-see type of thing. Cowboys president Jerry Jones expressed uncertainty about Cooper's rib availability for Monday's game against the Eagles, but he's hopeful the star wideout will be ready to play in Week 3 matchup. Todd Archer of ESPN.com reports. This is what Jerry Jones said today on a radio show. I don't know today. I'm hopeful those ribs can get comfortable enough for him to play by the weekend, but I don't know. Jones said Tuesday during his radio appearance on 105.3 The Fan Dallas. And some injury updates on the bench. Trey Sermon got injured. He got a concussion over the weekend. So head coach Kyle Shanahan confirmed that Sermon sustained a concussion Sunday during the 49ers' 17-11 victory in Philadelphia. Nick Wagoner of ESPN.com reports. And update on Jamison Crowder, who was expected to play this weekend but didn't. He obviously did not play over the weekend. It was groin. They listed it as he'll probably be back for this week. And Curtis Samuel, there's no new update on him. He's still on IR. And as for my non-PPR league, there's that Amari Cooper thing, but I just read that. For my PPR league, I'm making an acquisition. So as I said going into the year, and if you're in a similar situation like me, deep league, 12 people, as I said going into the year, the only reason I drafted Devontae Booker was if Saquon didn't play either the first week or the second week, or they limited him and he got split time and he would go in there and get a big load. He hasn't done that. He's gone a total of 6 carries on the season and has a total of 16 yards. And on the year, he has a total of 4.4 points. So I put in a claim to release him. I'm going to put in a claim to add Marquise Brown and drop Devin Booker. So it would give me another receiver, give me some more receiver depth. And Marquise Brown has played really well in the first 2 games. In week 1, he had 19.4 points, and most recently against Kansas City, he had 23 points. So he's been playing really well. I also believe with all the injuries to the run game, Jackson's going to be throwing a little more to Mark Andrews, Marquise Brown. Getting involved could help their value, so that's the claim I put in for that league. And I'm actually going to keep my defense. I like New Orleans against New England, and I like New Orleans in both leagues against New England. Jets were able to call, New England, Patriots didn't do much damage to the Jets. I believe the same could be said for the Saints as well. And then I'm going to get to fantasy baseball here. Right now in fantasy baseball, I'm currently winning 69-47. So that's what I got there. It is the championship, so I'm winning right now, which is great. Today I've got going, I've got to make a roster change. So I don't know what to do here. Do I put in Austin Riley? Yeah, I guess I would. So I'll put in Austin Riley. I have to, actually. Put in Austin Riley and bench Alex Bregman. Okay, because Bregman's out. All right, so Will Smith, Matt Olson, Nicky Lopez, Austin Riley, Carlos Correa, Marcus Semien, Gene Segura, Whit Merrifield, Austin Meadows, Dylan Carlson, Manuel Margot, Josh Harrison, Jay Cronenworth. That's my starting lineup. I got Joe Musgrove, Alec Manoah, and Drew Rasmussen on the mound. Now, I've made some acquisitions. So these are some of the acquisitions I made. The other day, I added Kyle Gibson, obviously, for a game which he pitched, which I did on Sunday. I dropped Luis Heel, added Kyle Gibson, and I dropped Kyle Gibson, added Framber Valdez. Framber Valdez, really good performance yesterday against the Angels. And then today, Andrew Kittredge is on the 10-day IL, which means he's going to be sidelined for the rest of the fantasy season. So I added Luis Severino since he's back and very well could pitch tonight, tomorrow, very soon here. So I added him, dropped Andrew Kittredge, and I dropped Framber Valdez and added Drew Rasmussen. So I've got 3 pitchers pitching today with the possibility of 4 if Severino gets in there, which I'm hoping that's the case. So I'm loaded up on the pitching, which is really good because that's what's going to win you fantasy. That's what's going to win you fantasy. It's as simple as that. Pitching, and good pitching most of all, is going to win you fantasy. So that's what I got for fantasy baseball. And as for the New York sports update, as I mentioned, kind of weird, but today us Yankee fans have got to root for the Mets and the Rays. As for the MLB, yesterday yesterday the Braves won, Cheaters won, Mariners won, Reds won, Rays won, Marlins won, Cardinals won, Orioles won, Royals won, Tigers won, and the Royals won. Yankees won yesterday 4-3 against the Rangers, so the Yankees moved to 84-67 on the season. And as for today, the Indians, Royals, I'll give Indians the win. White Sox, Tigers already happened. Tigers won that game 5-3. Marlins, Nationals, I'll give Marlins the win. Reds, Pirates, give Reds the win. Phillies, Orioles, give Phillies the win. Rays, Blue Jays, give Rays the win. Brewers, Cardinals, I'll give Brewers the win. Cubs, Twins, give Cubs the win. Dodgers, Rockies, give Dodgers the win. Cheaters, Angels, give Cheaters the win. Braves, Diamondbacks, give Braves the win. A's, Mariners, give A's the win. And Giants, Padres, I will give Giants the win. Alrighty, as for the Mets and the Yankees, Mets come in this game 73 and 77. Red Sox come in this game 86 and 65. This game goes on today, 7:10 Eastern on NESN, New England Sports Network, and also on SNY. Mets got Marcus Stroman on the mound. He's 9 and 12 with a 2.88 ERA, and the Red Sox got Eduardo Rodriguez on the mound. He's 11 and 8 with a 5.00 ERA. The over/under for this game is set at 9. And 68% of people think the Red Sox will win. As much as I want the Mets to win because it will help the Yankees, I ultimately think the Red Sox will win this game. Hope I'm wrong, though. And as for the Yankees and the Rangers, Yankees come in this game 84 and 67. Rangers come in this game 55 and 95. This game goes on today, 7 to 5 Eastern on Yes. The Rangers got Dan Dunning on the mound. He's 5 and 8 with a 4.28 ERA, and the Yankees got Jordan Montgomery on the mound. He's 5 and 6 with a 3.63 ERA. The over/under for this game is set at 8.5, and 77% of people think the Yankees will win. Give me the Yankees. So that's what we need. Yankees win, Mets to lose. Hold on, I apologize. Messed that up. Yankees win. Mets win, Rays win, would help out the Yankees so much. In terms of wild card, and the Yankees got to go to play the Red Sox coming up Friday through Sunday in Boston. And depending on how the Yankees finish up this series today and tomorrow against Texas, and depending on how the Mets do in their 2-game set today and tomorrow against the Red Sox, will depend if the Yankees have to go into Boston and sweep them, or at least just find a way to win the series. That's big, because we've struggled against the Red Sox, and we've struggled against them, especially at Fenway. So, who's historically, Yankees have struggled there, and historically is not an easy place to play, especially when it gets closer to October and you're chasing the playoffs. Especially when the Red Sox are not in any secure playoff position by any means. If the Red Sox start to slide and the Yankees start to roll, and the Blue Jays continue to roll, we could see a Yankees-Blue Jays. Yankees right now are not. If the season would to end today, Blue Jays would be visiting Fenway Park for the wild card. Yankees would be going to vacation. They'll be golfing right now. But we could be coming. Monday, we could be talking about the Yankees being the 1 seed in the wild card and having home field advantage. That's how crazy it could change within these next 4 or 5 days. And it starts tonight with the Yankees getting the job done again against the Rangers, which they did well last night, and with the Mets and the Rays helping the Yankees out. Because it's great if the Mets win and the Rays win. That's great. But if the Yankees lose, it doesn't mean anything because the Yankees didn't gain anything. So the Yankees also got to get the job done as well. Both things need to happen. If I had to be, I don't want to be Debbie Downer, but if I had to think, I would probably end up saying the Mets are probably going to lose both games in Fenway, or at least one. If they could find a way to win 2, that would be golden. They do have Marcus Stroman going today, but, just the Mets are the Mets. They just are struggling this year, 4 games below 500. Mathematically, they're not eliminated from the playoffs, but they're 7.5 games back from a wild card, so their chances are pretty slim with 14 games to go. They're going to have to go how many games are left? So, Yankees got to still play 9 plus so Yankees got 11 games left, right? Because 11 games left. Because then starting the Red Sox, it starts that 9-game stretch against the Red Sox, Blue Jays, and then finish out at home against the Rays. So, 12 games, Mets are 7.5 back. Not only will you need the Cardinals to lose, but you're going to need to win 9, and you're going to need to go 9-2 in your next 11 games or whatever. And you're going to need to hope that the Padres continue to fall, that the Phillies don't do well, and that the Cardinals somehow go on a massive losing streak. So the chances are extremely slim, but it's a mathematical chance. As for the Yankees, we win, we do our job, we get some help. You're talking about the Yankees being a wild card game. So, that's huge. But it all starts tonight, and it started last night as well. And we talk about this stretch. I mean, this is the season. Like, starting on Friday, those are our final 9 games left. And that happens to be 9 games against AL East opponents. One of them who's on their way to winning the division, and 2 of them who we're fighting with for the wild card. So, that's the reality of it, and hey, the Yankees got to come to play. We can't, this is one of these moments where you can't get caught looking ahead either. Saying, oh, we got to play well against the Red Sox. No. You need to take care of business in these games so it sets you up better for those Red Sox games. So you don't have to go into Fenway and sweep the Red Sox, because that is not an easy thing to do. So maybe all you have to do is go into Fenway. And even saying that, all you have to do, because it's still going to be difficult, maybe now you have to just win the series. Not worry about sweeping them. So, it's big. These are some big games. So, that's what I got for the podcast here today. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. It was another very good podcast in the books. Got a lot covered today. Recapped everything in the NFL. Got all that good stuff done. A lot of baseball as well. So that will do it for the podcast here today. As always, I will see you all back here tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed it. And thanks for watching.